Inventory management can be a hassle for companies that handle a relative fluid movement of supply. An example of this can be a food store, which is the case for the challenge that we had to solve for the duration of this class. The problem that we had to solve was to find a way to improve the management of the inventory for our clients of BTC, our learning partner for this project, by finding the optimal inventory target levels. These target levels are essential as they let the client know how much of a product they should order to be able to supply that demand, and how much safety stock they should have stored to prevent understock and overstock. In order to provide a solution for the client, we had to use Excel in order to classify each of the product as an A, B, C, or D to identify which are the products that bring the most value to the company. We based our ABCD classification on the revenue that each product brought, and if they were an 80% of total sales, they were classified as an A. If they were 15%, they were a B. If they were 5%, a C. And finally, a 1%, a D. After having found this, we decided to implement a two-dimensional ABCD classification using the revenue and the coefficient of variation for the demand by calculating the standardized demand for each of the 65-day period of every product. For this, we use an X, Y, and Z classification for the coefficient of variation. If this coefficient is low, then there is not much variation in the demand for the product, meaning that it is easier to forecast the demand and how much should be ordered. If the coefficient is lower than 20%, it's an X. If it's between 20 and 40%, it's a Y. And if it's higher than 40%, it's a Z. Then we merge these classifications together in order to make a new ABCD classification using these parameters. After this, we simply calculated the safety stock levels, the Q value, the inventory target level, the service levels, and finally the inventory costs. We then added an ABCD table in order to manually change the safety stock and compare the service levels and inventory costs. As a result, our solution brings to the table a way to minimize inventory costs while incrementing the service level. In order to do this, we need to modify the Q factor, which alters the safety stock levels, in turn affecting the calculations needed to obtain the inventory cost. This solution brings value to the company because it will help define the optimal inventory and safety stock levels, as well as reduce cost and increase the service level. As previously mentioned, the Q factor can be changed and is reflected on the cost and the service level, allowing the company to make the best decisions that suit them to manage the inventory. The main things that I learned from this class are the calculations that are involved in the management of inventory, such as calculating the safety stocks, the inventory levels, and the inventory cost. I also learned the ABC classification method and how it is important to identify which are the products to bring the most value to the company, as well as to know which are the slow and quick movers. I would also like to add that besides data analysis methods and Excel functions, I learned the importance of first taking the time to understand and define the problem in order to come up with a valuable solution.